Hi, hello, and welcome to this week's Fiberific live craft and chat. I may have had a bit of a false start there. I actually did all this already and realized I hadn't hit go live. Also, the dog is behind a wall and I can hear that he's getting into something, so I'm being totally stressed out. This week, the live chat was a little bit crazy. Even before the stream started, lots of people saying hi and hello and talking about all sorts of things. So thank you to those of you who jump in. You know what time the stream is. You're here before the notifications go out. I do know that a lot of people try really, really hard to get in and my brain just totally fried because the dog is ripping something apart. There is something being destroyed. But yeah, so a lot of people like wait for the notification and then wonder why they don't get it. So you guys who know when the live stream is on, I'm so glad that you are in here. JB, you are not first. Sorry to be first in this live chat. You've got a comment like an hour ago, at least. Like, yeah, I don't even know what Kathy Bride jumps in her first comment, so totes not first. But thanks for dropping in. Like, I know you got a big day, so I appreciate your time. Freaky says, I nearly said no sound, but then realized I had my speaker muted. I'm so glad because I'm a bit frazzled this morning. And so I'm like, oh my God, wait, what? Did I not plug in a microphone? I was wondering if you would remember to hit the go live. You know, this is the advantage of I say advantage. This is the thing about live streaming is stuff can go wrong. Now, speaking about stuff going wrong, I've got to check what Louis is destroying because he sounds like he's having way too much fun. So please bear with me while I just jump out here and go and find out what he has destroyed. Oh my goodness. What is that? That is not for you, you terrorist. Come on, I brought your toys in. Luckily, it was an empty plastic bag that is now no longer able to hold things. So good job, Lou. Well done. But yeah, it's definitely been a day of will I remember to do all of the things. Just having a quick read through the chat here. Good morning to everybody here. Good morning to Dolores. Freaky saying hit the button and change the chat to live chat. I just double checked to make sure I changed mine to live chat. I have. Thanks, Freaky, for the reminder. John says he's been here since last week. Good job, John. Well done. Chris Bragg, it's been ages since I saw you in a live. Welcome to the chat. Wow. Oh, right. Yeah. I totally get that. Freaky. I went to watch something on YouTube yesterday afternoon. I'm like, what's going on? Oh my God, is my laptop dead? No, I just had it muted. I could send a few hundred bags. I'm good. I am A-okay. I'm more worried that he's probably eaten some. So yeah, it is one of those things. Oh, if you guys can keep an eye out for me, I'm testing something. And Louis, what do you like? Seriously, he's in a mood today. Normally he just sits on the chair like a good boy. Not today. So yeah, but I'm testing something. So if you see anything hinky going on with the stream, please let me know. I would really, really appreciate that. So yeah, it is. Ruth has said, I'm not even trying brioche, even though it's the shawlography shawl. Are you skipping that bit? Are you totally going to skip that bit? Chris Bragg says, I can't believe Abby is a senior and how much she looks like both of you. Yeah, Abby's final year of high school. And she really does. She is definitely an amalgamation of both mum and dad, which is, sorry, Abs. I hope she gets some good bits. Oh, my God. So I'm just having a quick look. Lisby is working on her giant-sized socks. So Lisby's let us know what she's working on. What are the rest of you working on today? While you guys let me know what you're working on, in my cup, Louis just, okay, so Louis has just not destroyed, but I had all the sound blankets set up all nice. Louis has decided, no, he would like to sleep in the sound blanket. So he's like pushed all around and made himself a little bed. I'll have to get a photo for later. Sound blanket boy. Louis, what are you doing? Okay, we'll get that. I'll share that later on Instagram. Oh, hang on. It's a little bit dark down there, so let me just look at the photo. I'll try again. The things we do for the IG, right? Louis. He's dozing off, so he's like, I don't want to look at you. I'm having a nap now. I made a bed. I'm a happy dog. Yeah, he has. He's dozed right off. He's made himself a total bed. Ruth's doing the lace version instead of the brioche version. Fair enough. Sally's had the circle of doom 3 times, but it might be just her end. Let me do a speed test as well. I haven't seen a circle of doom come through for me. I'm monitoring on another screen as well, just in case. Yeah, sound blankets are soft and snuggly. Yes, they are. Louis can attest to that. Chris says that she's not working on anything right now. Currently, a V-back tee in minis, full skeins of speckle hand-dyed from Stash. That sounds cool. I like the sound of that. A colorwork cow, learning two-handed. Yeah, I get it. No buffering for you guys. Awesome. That's good to know. I'm about to start interlocking crochet blanket. I'm excited, but also a little daunted. Yeah, learning a new skill is always just that little bit of trepidation, right? Like that, or at least that's the case for me. Every time it's like, okay, I've got to do something I haven't done before. You know, I'm going to be a noob at it, and it's okay for me to suck at it because I'm new. And I constantly have this thing in my brain, like it's okay to be terrible at this because it is my first time, except when I do it and I'm terrible at it, I'm like, oh my God, I'm terrible at it. Why am I terrible at this? I could do all of these things, and yet I'm terrible at this thing that I've never, ever done before in my entire life. Yeah, like my brain. That's my brain, you guys. Speaking of my brain, I still require coffee this morning, so I have my trusty cold brew. Thank you, family, for my cold brew pot that I got for Christmas. And I also have plenty of water. Okay, so I've got a little cold brew and lots of water. Okay. So in today's stream, I'm nervous and daunted because I've realized something. In all of the years that I've been live streaming with you guys, I have never plied on camera. And I'm finding that a little bit daunting. I have shown people, well, I kind of plied a little bit, but I was more teaching how to do a particular skill. So I was teaching, and one of my very first videos was how to use the Handy Andy from Nancy's Knickknacks, which unfortunately are no longer available, which devastates me no end because they were a fantastic tool. And do you think I could find mine? No. So we're going old school and using my hand. So yeah, we're going to definitely be doing some bracelet plying. I know now that, you know, some things have changed in recent times about how we name the different processes for spinning. And while it had been called Andean plying for a long time, I believe it turned out that the Andeans never actually plied this way. Or it was unlikely they did, and it was just somebody who made up the name. So we're going to call it bracelet plying. I think that's the term that everybody's going with. I don't know, honestly. So if you know of the more correct term for Andean plying, please tell me in the chat. I want to get it right. So we're going to be plying this guy off the spindle, or we're going to be winding it off the spindle to do the hand wrap, and then plying it back onto the spindle. So I definitely haven't plied on a spindle on camera. Do you know how I know this? Because I don't usually ply onto a spindle. I normally ply on a wheel. So new for all of us. So I am a little nervous. Yeah, you mean you've been doing something for 10 whole minutes and you're not an expert yet? Horrors. Absolutely. I'm setting myself up for failure by planning 14 Christmas stockings to finish knitting by Christmas this year. I've almost finished one. So is it like some things where the first one's always the trickiest because you're learning things, and then the rest will be by rote? Or will it be, or will they all be so different that they're all going to take 2 months to make? Because like I would make 3 just for my immediate family and then be all like, yeah, nope, no more. I'm done. Knit Spin Girls thinks it is bracelet plying as well. Thank you. Lindsay Shadow, welcome to the chat. Dolores is planning on joining the fun zone. Awesome. Don't forget to answer the questions. If you are in the live stream here and you don't know what the fun zone is, Sally or Jackie are going to drop a link. They can have a mod race and see who can do it first. And it is just it's a community where we go on from here, if that makes sense. It's where you can share your makes and your photos and your opinion of different things that we talk about during the live stream. Sally has already put up the thing for today's live, so you can start popping your conversation in under there if you've got a question or if you want to show a photo of the project that you're working on. If you have already showed us your photo like in a past one, we'd love to see an updated photo and help cheer you along in your progress of your projects. So that would be awesome if you wanted to do that. Sally has dropped the link. So there are a couple of questions. They're very tricky questions along the lines of, do you like yarn? How much do you like yarn? And do you promise not to be a spammy bot monster person? So that is basically where we're at. Good morning to Lisa. Welcome. So guys, now I do have a small announcement to make before we get started on this task of dauntiness. That is, we have the Fiberific retreat coming up in September. I should have possibly looked up the dates. I didn't. It's like mid-September sometimes. Someone will have the dates. Anyway, we have 7 places available. If you want to come along and you want some more information, it is in Queensland, in Australia. It is I can't remember the name of the town, but basically it's far away. Oh my gosh, I really didn't prepare for this. But basically it's not near an airport, so we need to, if you've got to fly in, we can make arrangements for you to get to the venue. But if you would like to come along, then you need to contact me. It is first in, first serve. There were originally 20 spaces. I did give the people who came last time early access, which was something I promised them last year. And that will be the same for those of you that come this year. You'll get promised early access for next year's event if you would like to come along. What this event is our low-key and chill Fiberific retreat. You basically come into the venue, drop your bags into your room, kick your feet up, grab your craft, and craft the entire weekend. You are catered for. We all have like a one of those sort of fold up picnic table size things each to craft on. You have plenty of room. There's also couches. There's also a big table that you can use for spreading out large projects if you're going to be joining a blanket. There's only one of those, so you might have to take turns. But it is such a fun and awesome event, and I am so thrilled to be able to offer it again this year. With all the things happening in the world, sometimes it's stressful organizing an in-person event. It's a basic B&B style accommodation. There's no bunks. There is 2 to 3 people per room. When I say 3 people, I think there's a room that has 5 beds in it, so we put 3 people in that room, but the rest it's like 2 people. And you can choose if you've got you and a mate both want to come along. You can choose their name and we can put you in that way. If you don't know who you want to be with, let me know and I'll try and pick someone nice for you to share a room with. So it's a really fun event. If you want more information, you need to send me a DM. Or we'll make a post in the fun zone where you can get that information. But it really is first in, first serve, those with the form in first. Now, what I'm saying is if you get the form Don't put your deposit in straight away. Put your form in first, and then I'll let you know that you got in time, and then you can put your deposit in. I would hate to have to sort of mess around refunding if too many people want to come in. So yeah, so we try and do that. Sounds like practically have your own stall for selling things. There will be a couple of stalls. I know that Emma is planning on coming, and she is bringing her amazing her amazing project bags and all her cool things that she sews under Gamer Widows. So you can go and check out some of her stuff on Etsy. And I know she brings up a whole pile of stuff. Our amazing Natalie from Tea for Talia, she's coming along. And if we ask very nice, she might bring some tea. I think she's flying this year, so she may not have quite as much room as she did last year, but I'm sure that I will be bringing a Fiberific stall. So there'll be a couple of stalls, but it's mostly like for me, I'm there to put my feet up and craft and have a good time. We'll have a little mini workshop that's totally optional on the Saturday morning. Other than that, it's just chill and sit back and laugh and be fed and be looked after by the event, by the venue. Okay, I'm very excited about this. So, Sally says, my plan is that I'm coming if all goes well. My fingers are so crossed for you. Snorers all in one room. No, I don't ask people if they snore. I just recommend that if you are a person who is affected by snorers, to bring earplugs. Because especially like if you don't know who's going to be in your room, then you can, then you can still sleep. But you're not on top of each other. The rooms are fairly decent size, so you usually there's all different formations. But yeah, I highly recommend. Oh, Leanne, yes, I still have to send you your form. Thank you, Leanne. Absolutely. So, Sally, so my fingers are crossed for you next week. Oh, I really hope so. I really hope so. Okay. I don't need earplugs. My snoring doesn't bother me. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay. So I'm going to have a sip of my beverage unit. Louis is totally asleep now. Like he went from Destructo dog to snoozy. I'm going to grab another photo of him while he's not looking at me. Hang on, because he's very cute. So cute. Anyway, sorry. Okay, noise cancelling headphones. I actually sleep in noise cancelling headphones every night. The one thing I love about retreat is that I don't usually need them. So I don't bring them. Well, I do bring them just in case, but I don't normally need them. So I think I sleep better without them on. Oh, goodness me. The things that we have to do and go through. Alrighty. Let's go to our double cam. We're going to start by winding our bracelet. So what this does is we're creating a 2-ply yarn. So we're not doing chain plying, we're doing bracelet plying. So what we do is we make sure that we can get to both ends. So right now we've got access to one end. So we can't ply a 2-ply. We need access to the second end, which is in there. So the easiest way to do that is to do this particular wrap for chain plying. Now there is an upside and a downside, sorry, itchy ear. Upside to chain plying with a small amount is it doesn't normally affect your hand too much. I personally don't, not chain plying, sorry, bracelet plying. I personally don't like to bracelet wrap too much yarn on my hand, which is why I have the Andean plier, which is a tool that you wrap that instead of your hand. You're doing exactly the same thing, except you're wrapping onto a tool, which means you are not physically connected from start to finish. Because the problem is once you start wrapping your hand, you can't get up, you can't move, or you can, but you've got to take everything with you. So I normally bracelet ply on a wheel, so I am attached to the wheel. So if you're going to wrap your hand in this manner, make sure you've made all the pit stops that you need to make before you get started, and make sure your phone is handy just in case there's emergencies. So yeah. So, oh, Franca, welcome to the chat again. It's been a long time. So let's get started. So basically, now I was having a think about it last night, and I realized that I'm not sure if I had spun this all the right way from the start. So I remembered which way I spun it towards the end and what have you. Okay, so we've got that on there. So I just do it a couple of times around the wrist, do it around the wrist to make sure that this isn't going to come undone. There's your end there. And then you come up, hang on, up, and then around, and then up. Oh, okay, hang on a second. I don't even know what I'm doing. Up and back. So let's start again. We've wrapped it around our wrist. We go up and around the finger and then back. And then we go up and around the finger and back. So you're going up this side and back that side, up this side and back that side. On the back here, the only yarn you should see is on this finger and going across the bottom of your hand. If there's any other yarn coming across there, something's wrong and you need to check your wrap. And the same deal here. The only yarn you'll see on the bottom is this initial wrap. The rest of it will be at the back. And I've just got to watch the spindle as well. And you just need to make sure that your little end stays out of the way. If you want, you can put a bit of Niddy tape on that to keep it around. So it's not so much complicated. Once you get started, you get into a rhythm. I just had to remember how to do it. It's been a long time since I've done it this way. And you just keep going up and back and up and back until you run out of yarn, which is why I like to do this with smaller amounts of yarn and not pure silk. One time I did this with pure silk. I had to cut it off. My finger went blue and I couldn't get it to come off. So I had to go dramatic and actually cut it off, and I lost all that project. Now that could just be me. I've lost my end. Where's my end? There he is. Knit Spin Girl says tucking it into a watch band helps. I can imagine it would. I'm not a watch wearer, obviously, but it totally would. So if you need me to slow down again to show it, like, let me know. But it's basically the same thing over and over again now until we're done. So you can see here now, we've got more yarn. I'll just tuck that down. We've got more yarn across the back and just that bit on the finger. And then here we've got the yarn across the front, but nothing else is here. So that goes up and there. And what this does is this creates like a continuous looping. So I know there's some people like, I don't know why you just didn't put this on a ball winder and just wind a ball. If you make a ball out of your energized single, which is this had definitely had parts that were quite energized, you could end up with a knotty mess and again lose it all. Okay, so it will come down to your personal preference. I don't like to ply from a center pull ball. It's just a personal preference for me. I see plenty of people who have zero problems with it, but every single time I've tried to do it, I've ended up with a nightmare and it's made me sad. So I try not to do it. So I am just every now and again going through and just pulling this and giving my finger, making sure it's got enough room for blood. That's from my own personal experience of, you know, losing circulation. Because you don't want it, like, it doesn't need to be tight. It just needs to be there, if that makes sense. But it does quite often end up a little bit tight. So I do every few rounds, just go in, give it a little nudge and a pull and just make sure my finger is okay. I'm okay. Everything's okay. Now, I have very short thumbs, so I do struggle a little bit here as well. So I've got to keep pushing it down to make sure the thumb is not doing anything silly, like popping, like the threads are popping over the ends of the thumb or anything like that. That's just the nature of my Tina Turner hands. So, you know, you got to do what works for you, But you do need to make sure that you don't have any yarn coming across here or anything coming across there. You need it to be just this section here and that section there, and just like this. Now this is correct. It's looking a little bulky for my small hands. And this is just one Rolag. So can you imagine me trying to do something like 50 grams or 100 grams? John's asking here if you could just wind it onto a Swift. No, because what we want to do is we want to work with this single afterwards. And while, yes, you could technically get both ends when you do that, you can't actually unwind both ends at the same time without something being caught. So technically speaking, no. But in saying that, you know, we've all done tasks with our craft that we were told couldn't be done and actually do it. I'm sure there's someone out there who can do that, but I personally can't. So yeah. Knitspin Girl says, I lost 40 grams of lace weight when a center ball went horribly wrong. Me too. Me too. Franca has said, I've thrown away lots of yarn because of the naughty. Yes. So yeah, so I'm nearly done. So, but yeah, this is why I don't do it. Look at that. Okay, we are done. We have an empty spindle. We have both our ends. So what we do now is I had a little drink. Okay, so we've got this. Now what we need to do next is move our finger out so that this can slide down into our wrist. Okay, and I've just realized I probably would have preferred it on my other hand, but that's okay. So we have to slide it out. There we go. So you can see here, you've still got, it's where the finger was, there's like these little, so what's going to happen is when we unwind it, it's going to come here and loop back around and back around. Now, I do normally control my fibers from my other hand, so I am going to try. I didn't think about this. So whichever hand it is that you prefer to control your fibers from, make sure that's the hand you wrap. Okay, don't do what I just did, which was wrap the wrong hand. But now that it's a bracelet, I should be able to get it on. There we go. Okay, so it literally sits as a bracelet, and I will hold and control here, okay? All right, now we spun, when we were spinning, we were pulling. So now when we're plying, we're going to push, okay? So what I'm going to do, just so that we've got both ends, some people really hate it when someone ties a knot in the end of the yarn, but for this particular purpose, I wouldn't use these ends anyway because they're all a bit squiffy and not awesome. So I will actually come down here, and then I'm going to be pushing. So I want that direction. Oh, my knot came undone. I tried to do it too close to the end is the problem. There we go. Let's do that. All righty. So those two pieces are not coming apart ever. I'm pushing. Okay, so I just want to twist that. I just need it to stay there temporarily. I can go back and fix it up once I get started. Oh, this is why I don't like to ply from scratch on camera. I want to get some twist in there so it can't come undone. Okay, that's not going anywhere. So we are pushing. Did I just twist it the wrong way? Possibly. So see, when I pull that, it actually pulls both strands at the same time. You still got to be cautious and aware of what you're doing. Okay. So we are pushing. All right. So you kind of just got to keep going until you get started. All right. And then I always find that my little bit at the start is usually wrong. Okay. Now I'm going to move us to our spindle cam setup here so you can see everything a little better. Okay. So I want to bring that down. I've got this feeling I'm spinning in the wrong direction. Let me have a look here. Yes, I was. I've got to pull, not push. Okay, there we go. Fixed it. All right. Now I want to make my little cob here. And then we just keep going. Oops. See how I got a little, hang on, you can't see, but see how there's that little curly tail there? I'm going to have to go back in, and that just means that I'm not keeping my plies separate enough, and they're not plying at the same time. So I need to make sure that both are at the same time. So let me just get some twist in there. And then move that. So what I like to do is once I get to a point where I've got everything set up, then I actually prefer to try and have a finger through the middle of both like that. So I like to have them come through my hand so I can actually control both sides. Now that will move around and it will make life a bit awkward, but you just add the twist and keep going, just like we did when we spun it. Add twist and keep going. See, I've got this horrible feeling I'm going the wrong way. Hang on. Or is it just too energized? Hang on, I'm just checking to make sure I'm doing the right thing here, you guys. So I'm just untwisting it. I don't even know. Neither way seems to look right. I'll just keep going. But that's basically what we're doing, is we're just adding the twist and keep going. It's super stressful. I personally prefer to ply on a wheel, and this is why I personally prefer to ply on a wheel. But I know not everybody has access to a wheel, and it's one of those things, once you get started, it's back to just like it is when you're spindling. Okay, it's just the fun and enjoyment of your normal spindle. It's just getting started. Remembering which way you spun it in the first place is really super helpful. But I do know that when I started spinning last week, I lost track of which way I was spinning. So I will, there's a good chance that I've actually spun half of it one way and spun half of it the other way. And now I'm trying to apply those together, which is stupid and wrong. I don't often say something is like legit wrong when it comes to spinning, because as long as you've spun everything in the one direction, you can ply everything in the one direction. Freaky Geek says that, sorry, I can't bring it up on screen, Freaky, but he says that that's why I like to start plying as soon as I'm done spinning. Usually I like to at least get the plying started for the exact same reason, but I was holding off so I could share with you guys. Any flies in the shack? I don't believe so, Deb. I don't believe so. Deb is referencing an Instagram story from earlier in the week where I went to have a sip of my cold brew and then couldn't because somebody was doing backstroke in it, and I was very disappointed. So what I'm going to do is next time I wind off my hand, I'm going to bring my hand under the camera a bit so you can see how it works. So basically, I come around and re-grab. Okay. I'll get a bit more twist in there. Okay, so I let go of it, let it untwist around my hand, and then re-grab. Add some twist and keep going. Re-grab, make sure you've got good tension on both strands. And then wind it on. And then undo and re-grab it and keep going. So this is why I usually ply on a wheel, because that way I can actually check, like I'll have this one wrapping off one hand and actually have the other hand holding it to feed it in. And that's why I personally prefer to ply on a wheel. But like Emma, who is in the chat here, she does everything on a spindle. So, yeah. Hello to thank you, Freaky, for the reminder. Hello to everybody that's showing up. Now, I don't know how good this yarn's going to be because, as I've said, I can't remember if I'm applied it, like if I spun it in the same direction, but it's enough for an example of the skill. So the end yarn may be trash, but it will show the skill of what it takes to actually apply on a spindle. I've just realized all this time I'm like trying to make sure this hand is under the camera. You guys can see what I'm doing in the third camera where my face is. Oops, that's out of shot there. Game Widows is plying along with me. Thank you, Game Widows. And the thing to remember is you're plying it. You don't need it to be, I don't know if that's going to pick it up. So you don't need it to be super tight, if that makes sense. Most of your work should be done in your spin, and your ply is more making it so those two things hang out together. So you just need enough twist to make them hold together rather than the whole kit and caboodle. Now, usually I would actually see how I've got getting quite a large cob. Usually I would wind that down towards, oops, there's a delivery. Hang on, guys, I'm expecting this one. You stay. You stay. Hello. Okay, the be right back screen didn't work. Okay, so it was a long awaited Chow-gu delivery, and so I'm really glad that it's here. And I have realized by getting a good look out in the sun, I actually am spinning in the wrong direction. So we'll just keep going. We'll just keep going. I'll have to go back and fix it up. I'm just having a quick look in the chat here before I get started again. So once it's applied, what ply will it be? Okay, so I don't know if Sally's meaning to ask a proper question or whether she is asking a cheeky question. There is a confusion between terminology between spinners and yarn users. So for a spinner, a two-ply talks about the construction of the yarn. This is a two-ply. So we have two plies of yarn turning into one, or two singles turning into a two-ply. Okay, whereas the weight of the yarn, I'm going to guess that it's going to be more weighted towards sort of a light sock weight. Or even slightly finer than a sock weight, like maybe a baby yarn weight. Oops, what am I doing? Okay. Alrighty. I'm just kidding. Oh, initially a proper question. Thank you, Sally. So yeah, so spinners and crafters use some of the same language, but they mean different things. So when we talk about as a spinner, when you talk about plies, you are talking about the construction of the yarn, so the number of strands so that go into the yarn. So hang on a second, I'll wind this on. So for this one, we have got 2 strands coming in to make the final yarn. Some yarns have 3, 5, 8, whatever. And even as hand spinners, you can make a nice 3 or 4 ply yarn quite easily using all your hand spinning skills to get a really beautiful round yarn, which make amazing cables. So yeah. But this is, I'm totally doing this the wrong way. So what's happened is the very start of it, I had spun it a different way. And then, so when I went to continue on spinning, it's now doing this thing here where it's a monster. So I'm going to finish it because I have got a bracelet on and I can't fix it while I have a bracelet on. So the way you would fix this is actually to spin it again in the other direction, but a lot. So you're spinning to untwist it all. So I'm basically just spinning it enough just to hold it together so that it doesn't get knotty. So that when I go to untwist it, it will just be easy. Now on a wheel, it's super fast and super simple to do. You just treadle through it. So, you know, whereas on a spindle, usually I would stop, but because I'm wearing a bracelet, I've got to keep going. So I made a wrong decision at the start. Now I have to wear my wrong decision until I finish. And then I can fix it. But it can totally be fixed. So, but we have to remember that not to pull. So pull back, because that's the way that I've been doing it. That's not correct. It was correct at the start, sort of, but not at the end. So I feel like a donkey. Molly says, I could never understand why Australians use ply for the weight of the yarn. I know, it's a thing, but in Australia, originally, when someone said it was a 3-ply, it was 3 plies. It wasn't just the thickness of baby weight, if that makes sense, but it's changed. So the manufacturing is changed. Oh, Jackie's got a good answer in there. I think once upon a time, the yarn manufacturers used to make the singles one weight, and therefore the finished yarn was the weight determined by the number of the single plies, and that's exactly correct. So it was made differently. So you could tell the weight of your yarn by how many plies it had. Whereas now it's not so much the case because they can vary the width of the plies a lot easier. So yeah. We'll keep going with this, and then we will have time to at least start the fix, so you can see what I would need to do to fix it. Luckily, it's not a big amount of yarn, right? I also hope that you're encouraged that anybody can screw it up. I think I was confused by the fact that I actually stuffed the spin up at the start yesterday and changed direction. And so I think that when I was looking at the beginning, it did mess it up. But, you know, we've got this. We have the technology to rebuild. Oh, goodness me. So who here has ever made like a pretty decent boo-boo in a project and had to work out how to fix it? Not just a spinning project, but just sort of any craft project that you do. No? Nobody? And I'm at the end, sort of. Hang on. It just popped off my wrist. There's like a little tangle at the end. I'm just going to Freaky's back with his tea or made. Gamer Widow says, I've plied an entire skein, not a happy day. And you've got the big skeins too, not like this little mini one that I've got. My question, Sally, was have you ever botched up a project so bad that you actually had to do a pretty major fix, like what I'm about to have to do? And Molly says, yes, plenty of learning opportunities. So you get to the end and you've got the loop. So that means, so we can just get our twist right to the end. We're nearly at the very end of our skein here, and we get that twisted on. Okay, so we have our finished but wrong spindle. Now, normally that's how long it would take, about that long to ply. So it's not super long to ply, but yeah, just which is good. I'm just checking something here. Okay, hang on. I can't see what I want to see. All right. Okay, so I suppose the advantage is this is a learning experience. So what we've done was we plied it in the wrong direction. Okay, so now we need the yarn to come back off so that we've got access to the beginning again. All right, or you could totally do it from this end, straight from here onto another spindle, but I don't have another spindle handy. Leanne said it's so pretty. It's very pretty, Leanne. What I'll do, hang on, I'll go big camera. There you go. Come on, camera. Go that autofocus. So it is very pretty, but you can see here that it's not twisting the right way. So we're going to fix that. So I don't have another spindle handy. Usually I would just run it through a spinning wheel, okay? But because we're trying to do everything on the spindle to show what can be done on a spindle, which is literally every part of spinning that a spinning wheel can do, then we're going to do it on the spindle. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to butterfly it off onto my hand. Am I? No, I'm not. Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to just wrap it around the hand that I want to feed with, because I still need to keep it under tension. Okay, so that's important. Again, we can't wind it onto a ball because we'll lose the tension and it could end up a nightmare. So we're going to wrap it under tension so that we can try and keep, I'm just going to drop it back to our double camera so that we can try and keep everything how it was. And we're going to take double the amount of time. It actually probably won't be double because A, we went outside, and B, we was slow getting started. So it's not going to be, it's not going to be too long. Okay. So we were spinning pull. I need to make sure I do push because at the start it's wrong because I stuffed up the spin. I do have Turkish spindles handy, but not handy enough. They're all stacked away in crates. Except for one. Oh, well. I'm here now. Okay. So see how at the start, that's fine. That's right. That's what we wanted. But it changed because I changed how I spun. So you can't change directions midway and not have a problem. Okay. So I need to push to add the twist. And this is just a start again. So the start's always, you know, tricky. Oops. Spindle cam. All right, so we've got it correct here. Wind that on there. And then we'll push. So what's going to happen now is it's got to untwist the twist we put into it, then re-add the correct twist. So when you may have only done a couple of spins before, we have to do quite a few this time. So what I'll do is next time when I bring it up, I will show you what it looks like. So here is how it looks spun. And now we're going to untwist it. So see how it's starting to come apart, and it's two loose pieces. I know this is probably not a good piece. It's very light and very small. And then retwist it with the correct direction. I'll see if I can find a better color to show you on. Oops, snagged on the spindle there. Now, there's a lot of energy in this yarn. It's very confused because I did the wrong thing at the start. It'll get better as we go forward. So I'm just having a quick look in the chat here to see if anyone's encouraging me. Oh yeah, I was knitting a scarf for my sister, which had eyelets, and I managed to drop a few stitches and didn't notice till later. No lifeline. Mum had to help me. Oh my goodness. So when you first started to apply, you were doing it the right way after all. Yes, because at the very first start of the spinning last week, I must have at some stage without realizing it changed directions. But I also know that I did that direction for quite some time. So we're going to get to a point probably very soon where this will start. Yeah, here we go. It's not quite there, but it's nearly there, where it'll start sitting better. So we're going to push out the twist and then re-add the correct twist. And then wind it on. So what have you guys been watching this week while I fix this mess? It's going to take a little while. I finished watching, what show was I watching last week? I can't remember what show I was watching. CSI Cyber. I finished watching CSI Cyber, and then I started watching CSI New Orleans. And I realized that I only ever watched like a season of that. And so now I'm up to like season 4. I want to say just started season 4. And I've been really enjoying some of their character development. Oh, you watched the Book of the Mandalorian? Nice. I still got to watch the Book of Boba Fett yet. I haven't done it. I've heard very mixed reviews on the Book of Boba Fett. I love the Book of the Mandalorian though. Okay, we're at a point where we are back to like that is normal energy yarn. So this is about where I must have started spinning it in the other direction. So I just want to add a little bit more twist to that, and then that is good. All right, that was a fair bit further through the spin than I thought it would be. I thought it would literally just be the start. Not quite, but you know, we'll end up with some decent yarn. That's actually really quite nice there. So yeah, we're getting there. This is the advantage of, like, I mean, I suppose I'm teaching all the things not to do, right? And why not to do them. Let's go with that. That's actually, this is a learning experience, not that I totally screwed it up. Oh my goodness. Oh, John says that's the joke. Don't give me any spoilers. I actually haven't watched any of it at all. So I don't like to know too much going in, because there've been times where, like, someone's like, oh my God, it's the worst, never watch it, or this is something that happened, it was totally terrible and it ruined the whole thing. So I started looking out for it, and then when I got there, it's like it didn't ruin my experience. Sally said CSI Cyber just started on Foxtel today. It's a good watch. Like, it's fairly old, so you do kind of think of it like, why are people falling for these scams? But you got to think about when it was made. Some of these things that's happening in that series, you're like, holy crap, that was actually pretty cutting edge. See, look at that. That's so nice. Like, and when you let it drip like that, see how it's starting to get. You can't see. Oh yeah, you can see it on my face cam. See how it's starting to just gently curl in. Like, you want it to, that's probably a dash over plied. So, because you want it to droop without curling. But I mean, I'm going to leave that, because that's just a little bit, and that'll travel fine through something that I screwed up earlier, I'm sure. There we go. And then when you see this yarn at the end, you'll see it sits on the spindle better as well. So it'll actually lay better as yarn. So when Leanne was like, show us up close because it's still cute, I think this will be cuter when it's right. And that's why I do keep letting it drop as well, just to double check that it's not doing that. But see how gentle that is? So if I added too much twist, like if I added, I'm pushing. So if I add, like, I'm going to add in a palm more, I can let it out. See how fast it does it? So a little soft, gentle one is fine. But when it starts going like really quick, then you know you've got way too much. So I'm just going to let it travel. There we go. I've got too much yarn on my hand, and it's like, there we go. That bit needs a bit more twist. You can't, and it's just a case of practicing and learning as to what's too much twist, what's not enough twist. Sometimes if your ply, like if your plies have too much twist, you have to really get some good twist into the ply to counterbalance that energy. So you will have a tightly plied yarn. So if you want a softly plied yarn, you need to have softly spun yarn to ply it. You can't use highly energetic yarn and expect it to be soft. Come back here, you. So I have a question. Do you find that that when somebody, like what I've just done here, where I've totally screwed it up, and then I'm showing you how to fix it, do you find that to be helpful, or do you find just learning how to do it right the first time is more helpful? I'm just curious, because I'm tossing up whether to go, like, I'm probably going to go back and make some spindle videos, but I'm tossing up whether or not to use any of the footage from these lives where I did screw it up. Oh, Lisby says that's better. For some reason, the quality was down to 240. I was very pixelated. Yeah, you need to check what YouTube has decided you get to have. Because even if you've got really good internet, like, I'll be inside watching something on my laptop thinking, geez, this is trash. And then I look down and realize YouTube is showing me the 360 version when there is a full high definition version. So they're just trying to save you your internet bandwidth. Look how nice that is. Here, look. Will you focus, little camera? No. Okay, let's try that one. No, this one. There you go. We're getting some cute yarn now. Real life and imperfection is definitely better in my mind. It's very helpful. Learning to fix is an important part of the process. Samantha T, welcome to the chat. I enjoy seeing the mistakes fixed. Because that's the thing. Like, I've been spinning, I want to say it's got to be heading up to 20 years, right? And I screwed this up. This was not an intentional screw up. This was just I wasn't paying enough attention last week during the live, and I changed direction of my spin. And it's just like anything. Like, you can be. I would consider myself a moderate to moderate spinner. Like, I wouldn't consider myself an advanced spinner. Because I don't do it enough. Like, if I did it all the time for 20 years, then, you know, that's different. But I do it, like, you know, a couple of times a month. So whether I'm, and that's usually spindling on the couch, and then I ply on a wheel. But I wasn't watching what I was doing. I was chatting and probably being silly. But yeah, so my child makes me watch in a lower grade so that I don't lag in their game. Oh my goodness. Depending on how old your child is and who's paying for the internet, I would disagree. I mean, I do. I have a 16, nearly 17-year-old, and she has grown up her whole life understanding that I get the priority internet, especially on live stream days. Hello, my mum's in the chat. Hey, mum, I screwed up and I've got to fix it now. I publicly screwed it up and now I've got to publicly fix it. So we're talking about, is it easier to, well, not easier, but do you find it helpful when someone screws something up if they show how it's fixed as well? Oops, that's tangled. See what's happened here? It's kind of just gotten its plies tangled around the spindle. I don't know how it does it. It just does it. You just got to go in and fix it and double check it hasn't made your yarn janky. Janky, that's a word, right? We're nearly at the end. We've nearly fixed it. I'll just throw it. Let's throw it on the table. Rage quit. My mum doesn't live here. If me speaking woke her up, there would be some serious concerns. We don't live in the same state. Oops, what's going on there? Wind you on. We're nearly at the end, you guys. We've nearly fixed it all. It's making such a cute yarn. And Samantha says it works better when you throw it. I agree. Or if it's something too heavy to throw, giving it a good kick. Lisby says, see, this is super interesting and great for those of us learning. You can stuff things up, but it's fixable. Yep. Yeah, I think jinkies is the Scooby-Doo word. I don't know where I got janky from. Just double checking I've got the right twist happening. And I didn't lose any. But like, I really like how that's twisting up there. That's nice. That's a good yarn. I'm glad I decided to go with the bracelet ply rather than the Andean ply, I think this would have made a very short amount of very chunky yarn. So having it, as the 2-ply rather than the 3-ply has definitely, I'm just letting that go a second just to I'm right at the end here, so I'm just double checking I get to the right spot here. There we go. We are done. So that is it. That is our plied yarn. I'll drop us back to 2 cameras. Plied yarn on our spindle, sitting much better. See how that's just sitting like yarn now rather than being all squiffy and trying to untwist itself. And because what had happened was plying 2 plies the wrong way doesn't work really. Now I do have my trusty Niddy Noddy here. I do have a little mini one which I was looking for because it would have been better for this project, but I've got my full-size Niddy Noddy here, so I'm going to have a drink, jump over to here, answer some questions, give my hands a little break, and then I will be jumping on and we'll turn it into a little skein of yarn. Then we can survey the damage between the right and the wrong based on, you know, how it looks in a skein, because we will very easily be able to see which bits are wrong. Now, I personally probably won't use the bits at the start that are wrong, but it doesn't mean you can't. It just means it's not my thing. Jancy has said, I've always felt that I learn more from mistakes and having to work them out than having everything go right. Me too. Like I find that when I've got to fix something, I deep dive into it more and understand it better. But I also know I learn things differently than a lot of other people. So I needed to double check that it was okay with you guys as well. Holly, all that you've missed is us bracelet plying our yarn from last week incorrectly and then me having to fix it. So it's fixed now. It's fixed. So now we're just going to wind it onto a little hank and we'll see how it looks there. Lovely fix up. Thank you, Mum. I'm just having you guys are chatting to each other. I'm going to have some cold brew. Yeah, so you can kind of tell, and it's experience. You can tell when you look at it if it looks right. Now, obviously, if you're spinning some art yarns and things like that, it can be a little trickier. But when you're spinning a straight up 2-ply, you can tell if it's doing the proper laying down, turning into, stop focusing on my face, focus on the yarn. Beauty shot. There you go. See how, and it's just holding its own there. Whereas before it was not. It was going crazy, saying, I don't like it here. You've done it wrong. Fix me up. So we fixed it up. Now we're only going to get a couple of wraps because there's not a lot of yarn that we've made, and this is a full, I think it's a 1 yard Niddy Noddy. It's the standard Ashford Niddy Noddy, whatever length that is. Is that 1 yard or 1.5 yards? I'd also like to know why Ashford, a metric country brand, use yards instead of like meters. Holly says I have to rewatch it later. Thank you, Holly. I would definitely appreciate you rewatching my mistakes later. I'll have to retitle this How to Ply Incorrectly and Then Fix It Up. Oh my goodness. All right. So I'm going to bring us back down to our 2-camera setup. This is a Niddy Noddy. So it's kind of like you can pack it flat like a H, but when you go to use it, you do need to twist it so that one side is facing you and the other side is facing away. Okay, I don't know why or how it works. It just does. Okay, and then we grab our bit of yarn. I just tend to just sort of, they usually have like a little node or a little something there. A yard is a short meter. It's not a long meter. Okay. And then you go, oops, by spindle on the ground. You're down there now. Okay. So up and over. This is, I'm going to go out. All right. Up. So I've got it just wrapped around the middle just a little, just once or twice just to hold it in place. Okay. Then over the top, under there, and you're kind of twisting everything at the same time, and then over and under, and you kind of just keep doing that until, where have you go? The spindle's literally on the floor behind me. Over and under. Where have you gone, little spindle? Oh. This is where a spindle rest would be handy. Come back on the table. I'm just going to put my phone and stuff in front of it so it's less chance of it rolling off the table. No chance, just less chance. Oops. Sorry, I'm just dealing with the spindle. Sorry about the noise. It's just rolling around like a crazy thing. You know what? That yarn at the start, I think it's retrievable. I actually think it's usable. All right, we're at the end. Okay. And then you just tie it off. I've only got some acrylic here, that'll do, and scissors. Now there's some school of thought out there that says that you do have to tie it off with the yarn of your skein. I don't agree. Tie it off with whatevs. I do like to do. It's an automatic thing, and I probably don't need it for a skein that's this small. But I like to do a figure 8 tie off through the yarn. And it's an automatic habit. And then I catch this here as well. And I'll bring it around the other side just so it doesn't go anywhere. And I'll just tie a, like, so that you can pull it back out. And I'll do another one on the other side. Now, if I'm doing a full, like, 100 grams, I would do a lot of these. So I've just undone the loose end that was wrapped around the pole. And again, figure 8. Come on, little yarns. Why is this so hard when it's small? It's so easy when it's big. Okay, there we go. And again with the, is there a name for this where you only sort of half pull the knot through so that you can pull it back out again? All right, so scissors out of the way. And then what we do, I'm just moving all the things out of the way, is we actually just slide this off, and there's our skein. Okay, now it's a little bit energized. You can see it kinked up. That means that there's a lot of energy. And those energy bits are the bits that have been done the wrong way. I'm looking at it, and most of it's fine, except for the last sort of 2 wraps. You can see straight away which ones are fine and which ones aren't. I'm going to see if I can zoom in for you so you can see the difference between the ones that worked and the ones that didn't work. Hang on a second. Zooming in. That one. I don't know if it's clear for you or not, but see how here is super squiggly and it's all loose and not right, whereas these others are not all loose. So you can see these are the ones that were wrong and these are the ones that are right. I'm just going to grab a photo. camera. There we go. I'll put those photos into the fun zone so that you can see. A soak will definitely help it, but the ones that are wrong are just wrong. Now, this is how long our skein is. It's like a standard length skein, like what you would get at the shop. Because this is so thick, like so narrow, it's very little. Did anybody know the length of an Ashford? Like, is it a yard or a yard and a half on an Ashford? Because we can work out our meterage based off if we just count it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever's this is. So if it's a yard and a half for the total circumference, so you multiply 10 by, so it's like 10 by 1.5, which comes out to be, 15. So it could be 10 yards or 15 yards. I don't know, because I'm not going to measure it. But what do I tend to do, especially if they're narrow like this, I actually fold them in half like this and then twist them into their skeins so that you've got just a bit more. Okay, and it's like quite twisted up. And then you come in here and you poke that in there, and that side, and pull it through. So you're pulling one end through the other end and untwisting it off. And there is, oh, I did all that thinking you guys could see. You can't. Here's our baby skein. Come on, camera. Our little baby skein. So, yes, and a soak. I always recommend after you've spun something, after you've got it into it little, I actually normally soak it before I twist it, like depending on how big the skein is. 1.5 meter skein length. Thank you, Sally. So this is 15 meters of yarn. Oh, I knew, Kathy, I just remembered what I was supposed to remember. Scales. They're over there. So do you guys want me to weigh this or you don't care? So let me know in the chat. So we got 15 meters out of that one Rolag that we did last week. Other than screwing up the ply and messing it up, I'm actually really happy with it. I think it's actually really quite pretty. I'm just gonna, there you go. I think it's like, it's got a bit of texture. It's like a bit thick and thin. It's got some life. It's got some pretty colors to it. Yeah, I definitely think it's really pretty. Where are we? Weigh it. All right, I'm going to go grab the scale. I'll be back in a second. I have 3 sets of the scales I like. Do you think I could find them? No, all I could find were these ones. It's not awesome. All right. 6.87. 7.1. This is why I don't like these scales. These particular scales are not good for 7.6. Let's see what we get this time. 7.58. That's pretty close. All right. Yes, so that's, I'm going to guess 7.5 grams. I'll weigh it on some good scales inside. So I will weigh that. So 7.5 grams for 15 meters. Let me calculator. 7.5, no. Okay, so it would come out roughly, if I did lots of it, it would come out roughly to be a DK weight, like a light DK, if I continued it on and made more of the Rolags and spun it the same way. It would be around a DK weight. So 7.5 grams, 15 meters. I can see you guys in there chucking in the other measurements. So that is great. I appreciate that, but I'm really happy with this. Like, to the point where I was like so tempted to get out the blending board this week and just make more of those Rolags. And yeah, and go from there. But we made this yarn using a spindle. So we spun it and we plied it on a little spindle. It can totally be done. If you want to have a play with spinning, you don't have to have a wheel. I personally like a wheel, obviously. Hello, screw up. But yes. Oh, Jancy asked, how did I work that out? Okay, so I did fiber math. That's right, Freaky Geek. It's an estimate, okay? So I know from experience that a 100 gram skein of wool is usually, like, for it to be DK, it's about 180 meters to 200 meters. This worked out 15 meters to 7.5 grams. So I did some reverse mathing on that. I'm just double checking I got my math right now. So 15 meters divided into 7.5 equals, so that equaled 2. I personally like to work things out based off 100 grams. So 100 grams equals 200 meters, which puts it into that sort of rough DK weight. Now, this is not the same case for cotton. It's not the same case for like different plying techniques, but we just did a straight up 2-ply, and this would give us a rough idea. Now, you'll definitely be better off with a wraps per inch measurement. It would give you a more accurate, but this just gives me a rough ballpark idea. And looking at it also makes me think it's a light DK. I wouldn't say it's a full DK, because the other thing to remember, it's quite lofty. It's quite soft and squishy. So that was the math. Lisby says, all because I didn't know what a Rolag was. I know, like, where did this end up? Like, you asked a question and we dragged out a blending board and we made a Rolag, and then we decided to spin the Rolag, and then we plied the Rolag. So, you know, thanks for the content, Lisby. Any other questions? Oh, my goodness. Okay. True, Lisby. This lesson has been your fault. Yep. Yes. So, what are you going to crochet with it? Maybe a heart for Valentine's Day. I actually think that's a really cute idea. I have a tutorial on how to make a really cute Valentine's Day heart. And I might even give it a try and see. I don't know if there's enough yarn here for that particular heart, because it's a little heart cushion thing. It's cute. But I'll see. I can't remember. It's been so long since I've made one. But that's such a good idea. Yeah, she needs to blend up more now. I mean, what did we put in there? We had mohair curls. We had some random Angarino in like a creamy color. We had like all sorts of things. What is the airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow? Is that an African swallow, John? Or a European swallow? Knitspin Girl's got it. African or European? All right, let's zoom this screen back out again so that I know that it's right for next time. Oh, come back, little screen. There we go. Okay, fixed it. The metric swallow. Okay, so we did have a good time with this, right? Like, I had a good time with it. I thought it was a lot of fun going from bags of fluff and a blending board to actual yarn. So, you know, I think that's really super cute. If you guys want me to make like a standalone video so that we don't have to watch the whole live stream to get it, but so that I can also get rid of my mistakes, then let me know in the chat and I'll add it to my list of things that I'm going to work on. But yeah, that was a lot of fun getting that from fluff to yarn. Now, I suppose I really should make something with it. So what's the date of next Thursday's live stream? I actually think that's the 17th. I think it's past Valentine's Day. Yeah, Monday's Valentine's Day. All right. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this and post it over on Instagram before Valentine's Day, so that you guys can go and check out my Valentine, like my little Valentine's heart video. And I actually think there is a pattern attached. It's been so long since I've looked at it. I really hope there's a pattern attached to it. Otherwise, I've got no idea where the pattern is. But yeah, so we should have a play and try and use this yarn up. But I will give it a little, I think I'll give it a little wash. And, you know, we'll try and salvage as much of those bad bits that we stuffed up at the start. By we, I mean me. Yes, definitely me stuffing it up. It just goes to really show the importance of always spinning in one direction and constantly, and remembering which direction you spun in so that you can ply in the opposite direction. If we had have done that, this live stream, like, we would have finished this task half an hour ago. You can't do an impromptu live to make the thing. No, I want to have a quick look at the video. So no, I don't want to do it. I mean, that's the perfect thing. No one can copyright claim me. It's my video. So but it's been a long time since I've made one. I need to go and find a hook. And I've actually, like, I have a problem at the moment. My pouch with all my clover hooks in it missing. No idea where it is. So at the moment, I have a 5mm hook. I'm really sad. So yeah. Mum says, wow, I like Cheap Chocolate Week. That's for a week after Valentine's Day. I like Cheap Chocolate Week too. Me too. It's very fun. It's very fun. But yeah, so I keep patting it. It actually feels really nice. Yeah, it feels very, very nice. So we'll give it a wash, and we'll go from there. John didn't steal things. What didn't you steal, John? I'm sure that's probably not true. Oh, there we go. Leanne says, I've just downloaded your Handfuls of Love pattern from under your tutorial. Awesome. So it is definitely it's definitely still there. So that's good. Oh, that's one way to check. Yeah. I think a 4mm hook is what I'm going to need for this guy for sure. So this 5mm is not going to do it. It's not going to cut it. Oh, oh, sorry, John. You didn't steal my clover bag. I understand now. And no, probably not you in this instance. So Leanne, you can make little hearts and put them up on the socials and show them to everybody. They're really cute. It was a really cute, fun. I remember it being a really fun tutorial. And I remember I made like a short video for Instagram for it as well. And that was fun too. Okay. Dolores' question is, if there is enough plied in the wrong direction at the start of the skein, could you cut that section off and reply in the correct direction for the skein? Technically, yes. The problem being the two plies were spun in different directions. So the end of the ply from the start was spun in one direction, and then at some stage throughout the spin last week, I started spinning in the other direction. And so both ends are actually spun in opposite directions. There'll be no way to spin that to make it work, if that makes sense. So if I had two plies that were both spun in the same direction, but were the wrong way, I could ply them both back the other way and make them join together. But because they've been spun in opposite directions, they're never going to be friends. Oh, 8-ply, you need less than 5 grams. So I should have enough. Ah, go, Leanne. No, she's not poking the bear. She's helping. She's helping. Oh, Abby's stolen all of your hooks. Looks like you've got a birthday present idea for you. You get it? That's awesome. I'm glad. Sometimes I worry about how I describe things because I don't tend to use the like proper terminology, and I just make up random words. And sometimes I get concerned that my quirkinessisms actually hinder the learning experience rather than help. I do get pulled up on it every now and again by hardcore people. So I you know, I'm still me. So yeah, so I mean, this one might make a slightly smaller one because I think it's a light DK. I don't think it's a true DK. It's definitely thicker than a 5-ply or a sport weight. Quirkinessisms. I totally need to trademark that. We could put that on a shirt. Quirkinessisms. That would be cool. Actually, you know what? I don't have a pen here, so I'm just going to take a photo. Quirkinessisms. That can go on a shirt. I reckon that would be cute on a shirt, and it gets this for everybody. And do you know, when you think you're about to drink a mouthful of cold brew and then the water hits your mouth and it takes your brain a second for you to realize that it's not cold brew and the water is fine, then yeah, that's where I was at. Okay, so dealt with that. Trademark by Fiberific. I think I'll just like do quirkinessisms. I'll add that to the Fiberific merch store, however. Oh, well. So if anybody wants their quirkinessisms t-shirt, goodness me, move my phone. I nearly checked it then. I nearly checked the phone. I try really hard not to check the phone during live streams, and this keeps making me think it's a phone. So I'm moving that out of the way as well. Louis is still curled up like a little tiny puddle dog in the sound blankets. So now my question, I have a quick question. We are coming towards, I mean, we've still got half an hour left. Have you noticed a severe cut in the quality of the video of what you're receiving on your usual stream? So like double check you've got full HD and have a look at it and think about that, because I've got a confession to make once you guys check that. My mum is asking, is cold brew a new way of saying iced coffee? No, it's not. So what I got for Christmas, Mum, which I'm so excited about, is a cold brew pot. So what it is this big glass pot, and you actually put your coffee in a basket, like your ground coffee, and then you actually pour cold water into it up till, a certain point in the pot, and then you pop it in the fridge for 12 to 24 hours, depending on how you like it. So it actually, the coffee itself, the coffee grinds have never had hot water on them. So it actually creates this really lovely, strong coffee without coffee bitterness. I know some people like the coffee bitterness. I don't like it. No coffee bitterness. And you can have it like with no milk in it, just straight with like ice cubes. I personally like a little bit of milk, so I 3/4 fill with the cold brew and just put a bit of milk in it. It also waters it down a little bit for me because I think I make it a dash strong, but I could just top it with water if I wanted. And it's just, especially in summer, Mum, it's a really nice coffee that's not iced coffee, because I don't have sugar. So iced coffees are normally really sweet. And so I still get like the non-sweetened coffee hit, but never hot. So yeah. Okay, so you're saying I'm in 1080, but I look 720. Okay, I'll have to check, because on my end, everything is normal, but I'm actually streaming on Wi-Fi rather than using the internet cord. I can actually just pop the internet cord in and you guys can compare the difference for me if you wouldn't mind. But yeah, so because we've got this new amazing internet that like we changed from Telstra to Aussie Broadband, so that's the provider, but the actual Wi-Fi was just as bad, if not worse. So then Tim went and bought us Google Mesh, which is a way to create a better Wi-Fi signal across your property. And we didn't think it would work in the shack, except it does work in the shack. And I'm just running a quick speed test now. So my usual speed test for in the shack for Wi-Fi was nothing. I couldn't get Wi-Fi out here. It would not work. I had to run the cord. I'm looking for not to do this every week, but if it's like bucketing with rain or there's a thunderstorm, I would prefer not to be running a cord across the lawn in the rain into my shed. So yeah. Okay, so I've got 60 megabits per second down and 30 megabits per second up. My live streams usually have 10 megabits per second up. So this actually got way more up than usual. So I don't know why I'm 1080 looking 720. On my screen, it looks cool. I'm going to check it later, but I just thought I'd explain why I'm doing it. Mum says, next time I'm in Queensland visiting. Yeah, I think you'd love it, Mum. I might even just bring some down in a container for you to try next time we come to visit. Yeah, see, and this is my concern, water and a power lead. No, it's not actually power lead. I mean, I do have the power to the shack running across the lawn, but it's a special power thing that can handle the elements. But it is the internet is a secondary one that I actually have to run out of the house, leaving the house, so I can't lock it because I have to run it through an open door and then out across the yard and up and into the shack. So I actually ran it today just in case this didn't work at all, and I've got it just right here so that because we are using StreamYard, if something happened, I could just plug it in and come back and the stream wouldn't end. You just have it like this. So the stream would still be running, but you just have that blank Fiberific screen. My camera input wouldn't be there. So if that ever happens, still chat, because if I get dropped out, I will jump on my phone and just be like, guys, I'm fixing it, because the stream will still be there and still be running until I end it. So yeah, so that's what we did today. That was my test. I'm always running little tests. You know, we've got extra lights for the third camera, and so like we've got the usual two are up there, right? They're always there. We have one here. This is the one we normally have for our, second shot. But because we wanted light coming this way for the webcam shot, so we wanted light coming across so that it could hit this side of it, because when it's not on, it's actually quite dark. Like, it's a little bit dark now, but it's actually really dark without it. So I had to set up like extra lighting and all that sort of stuff. But yeah. Bub says cold brew will keep in the fridge for up to 14 days if it lasts that long. So yeah, absolutely. I love my cold brew. Yeah, John, absolutely. She could totally do that. Mum, grind coffee into like a cheesecloth bag or something like that. That won't let the coffee grinds float through, and just drop it into a bag in a jug in the fridge. It'll totally work. You want about 70 grams of coffee to about 800 mils of water. So yeah, and then let it sit for 24 hours. Totally. You can all try it, not just my mom. Everybody can try it, because I think cold brew is awesome. Although for some of you, like, it's a bit cold for you to be having cold brew. Like, I know some of you are dealing with like blizzards. So you guys need the hot. But it's summer here, and it's really nice to be able to enjoy my coffee how it's supposed to be without it having been heated first. And now I finished my cold brew. Giant sock now has a heel flap and gusset finished now onto the foot. Yes. What you can do is you can reduce the stitches down. Like, if you think it's going to be way too big for your foot, like, you could reduce the stitches down so you got a bit of a baggy ankle and a bit of a baggy top of your foot, but the actual foot bit fits. It's your call. Don't drink coffee and don't like cold things. Fine. Don't make cold brew then. Samantha T says that it's nice and clear on her end, watching from Canada. Nice. Cold brew mocha. See, what I would do if I wanted a cold brew mocha is I'd make cold brew as standard. Then I would put the chocolatey part in the cup, and maybe, depending on, like, if I'm using Milo, you won't need to do this. But if you're using like cocoa or something like that, I would put just a little bit of hot water in there just to turn it into the paste, and then add the cold brew. That's what I do. That's me. You've skeined up your spinning as well. Like, is yours as cute as mine? Is probably way bigger because you do heaps more. Game Widows is a spindle like extraordinaire, total spindle extraordinaire. So yeah, so so yesterday I was on a Zoom call yesterday, and so I realized I hadn't finished the spin, so I'm like in a Zoom call like spindling. Like, luckily it was like not a work call, is all I can say. Chintamani says cold brew sounds interesting. I hate bitter coffee, so I might have to give it a go. I actually think it's really worth giving it a go. You don't like, my family bought me, I think it's Haribo. I'll throw a link in the fun zone of the brand of the coffee jug that they bought me, but it was quite inexpensive in the scheme of coffee things. And then, but you can totally do it as long as you've got a pitcher that can hold a decent amount of water, and that you can somehow secure the coffee so that it doesn't like the grains don't come through. If that makes sense, because you want it to sort of float in the water as such. That's right, Mum. It's an Oka mocha if you use Milo in your mocha. Make it on a coarse grind is best so you don't get much sediment. Yeah. So I do a medium grind on my grinder to get it. So it's probably a dash on the too fine side. But it's the grind I need to throw into my coffee machine if I'm doing a special run for my coffee machine of special beans. And I'm too lazy to change it. So I do end up with just a little bit of sediment. Not much, but a little. But yeah, you want to sort of coarser grind. Absolutely. Bob, you've made cold brew before, haven't you? I can tell. I can totally tell. And of course, as always, when it comes to your coffee drinking, it comes down to your beans. If you are getting like older beans, or you're not sure where your beans have been around, then sometimes the beans themselves might have a bitterness to them. So it comes down to the grade of coffee that you're using as well. When we were in Canada, it was all the rage. They'd heat up the cold brew for hot coffee with. No, when you heat up cold brew to make it into a coffee, like to a standard coffee, you still get that beautiful like sweetness and non-bitterness because it was brewed. When they heat it up, they don't leave the coffee beans in there. They're just heating up the end liquid. Yes. I'll just go with that. Yes. Bob, you use a French press. Okay. So do you actually press it down straight away, or do you just let it sit in the fridge and then push it down? I'm curious. I've got a French press. I could totally try it out. I cannot have Milo in the house. 1 spoon for the glass, 1 spoon to eat, another for the glass, and another to eat. Yeah, we did it like, do you guys get Milo overseas? It's like a crunchy chocolate drink thing. It's delicious. Google it. But I remember when I was a kid, we used to basically put just a little bit of milk in and then just put in as much Milo as we could so that it turned into this crunchy, like crispy chocolate paste that was delicious. Yeah, absolutely agree. John has it. Yes. My understanding is cold brew contains more caffeine. I don't know if it does. It is brewed for longer, so it may draw out a bit more of the caffeine. But from a person who drinks it regularly, I don't notice a huge, and I notice like I can't take, like funnily enough, me, massive coffee drinker, loves coffee. I cannot drink like Mountain Dew with caffeine or any of those sort of mother drinks or any of those drinks that include guarana or caffeine boosts because I sweat and my heart rate goes crazy and I can hear my heart beating. But when I have a couple of coffees or a cold brew or a couple of cold brews, I don't get that. So if it does increase the caffeine, it's not by enough to set off my overloaded caffeine warnings, if that makes sense. But yeah, definitely have a look at that. But I like it. Here we go. We're totally on like coffee and Milo chat now. Absolutely. It's come up to lunchtime. We're all thinking about food. Was told by Zarappa's barista that a lot of cafes use dark roast beans to disguise bad baristas as it's bitter anyway. Absolutely. They do. Then they can blame the coffee and not the staff being not trained. Crunchy liquid chocolate is the reason I stopped buying Milo. I know. I know, Mum. Milo and ice cream. Win. It's so good. It's so good. Lisa needs a mocha now. Oh, here we go. Per Google, cold brew is stronger, even though I can't feel the difference. Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. I don't know if it can't be that much stronger, but maybe it's a bit stronger. I don't know. I don't know the exact. Maybe we should run some experiments. Like, does anybody know how to measure caffeine in liquid? I mean, I don't. I would like someone to like measure the caffeine in 1 cup of coffee that I would normally have versus 1 cup of cold brew. And I would like to know how much the difference is because I don't think I've noticed the difference. I noticed that when I drink the cold brew, like the cold beverage versus the hot beverage I tend to sort of like and relax and chill back. But that's because I do that with tea, I do that with coffee, and on occasion I even just drink hot water, which I won't get into, but you know, and it's the same deal. It's the hot drink relaxes me, whereas the cold drinks just my energy doesn't change. If you can see the ice cream under the Milo, then you need more Milo. I also agree. I also heard there's more caffeine in light roast than dark roast. I don't know. I prefer light roast because I don't like the bitterness. I get my coffee from a company called The Coffee Company. I will put links in. I have an affiliate link, so you guys get a deal and I get a deal. So I'll pop that into the thing as well. And I like a lot of their light roasts as well. I find that dark roasts are bitter, and I don't like bitter coffee at all, which is why I've moved a lot of my coffee drinking over to cold brews. I still drink hot coffee in the morning, then cold brew through the day. Oh, Annette, I'm so sorry. Oh, aren't we the worst? We're the worst friends ever. We didn't know. Okay, let's talk about something else. No. Feed each person a different cup of each and see who stays awake longer. I can have coffee and go straight to sleep. Coffee doesn't keep me awake. Things keep me awake, like exciting things, like, oh, I want to do a thing. That keeps me awake. Yeah, here we go. Starbucks is all dark roasters. I don't like Starbucks either. Absolutely. Oh no, John's 3 hours in. Is that worse? Is that worse? But I don't know. Which is worse, do you think? Like being nearly finished and hearing this, or just having started and hearing this, knowing you've got to keep going? And I don't know. I think I don't know. I don't know what's worse. But I feel bad. Like, we did really well. We did really well. Not talking about too much in the way of food. Yeah, I think Milo might be an Australian thing. I'm not sure. I'm surprised because it's awesome and everybody should have some. But yeah, I don't know. I have 13 hours to go, but I'll be asleep for 8 of them. Okay, that's all right. All right. That's okay. I'm having my black tea. Okay. All right. We'll try not to discuss this. So, Sally, can you throw that link in again? I know that you threw it in before, but Sally popped the link into the video where we're going to make the little love heart. So if you want to jump in and join in and make a little love heart out of some scrap yarn that you've got, like a DK or a worsted weight yarn, that's what I wrote the pattern for. It's just you just need a little scrap amount, like 5 to 7 grams. It doesn't need much at all. And then we can all make it together, and we can make like a love heart feed in the Fiberific Fun Zone. That would be so fun. Oh, yeah, see, it's got guarana in it. I can't have guarana at all. Like, I found out the hard way. I had guarana. I was like, nope, this is bad. This is very bad. And there's some chocolates now that come out with added guarana. And I'm like, nope, back away. Yeah, Milo has got a slight maltiness to it. Yeah, way better than Quick. Quick is gross, except for Banana Quick. I love Banana Quick. I love banana milk. Like, I go to the shop, like, I'll have to grab a photo. I know that it's not the same in the US. In Australia, in our dairy cabinets where we buy our, like, 2-liter milks or whatever it is for our coffee and tea, there's a whole nother cabinet of all the different flavored milks. So strawberry and chocolate and iced coffees. And like, they bring out crazy options. But I like banana milk and I like lime milk. And I like to buy a lime milkshake when I go to milkshake bars. So I know. Chintami says, I hate the fake banana. I hate fake banana lollies. I hate fake banana everything else. But I love banana milk. Oh my goodness. So yeah, like so many, like, how good is lime milk? Yeah, I have a lime milk buddy. Nobody I know likes lime milk. Everybody hates it. I love it. Oh, there we go. Sally's popped the link up. So that is a link for an old video of mine that's a tutorial on how to make a little crochet heart. So it uses up some scrap yarn. So I'm going to use this guy, which is the skein that we just made. And then we can post the photos over in the Fun Zone. That would be so awesome. I have tried the Choc Banana Quick. I'm not a fan of the chocolate Quick, and I felt like the chocolate was definitely the prime thing. No. It's not lime cordial and milk. That's a hard no from me. And it's not lime juice. No, it's a lime flavoring that they make for milk. And you can't buy it. Like, or at least I've never seen that I could buy it. I know milk bars can buy it, but I can't buy it. If I could buy it, it would be very bad, and I would drink a lot of milk. But yeah, it's just a lime milk flavoring. So like, when you get your banana flavoring for milk, like when you're at a milk bar and they do the pumps of the flavoring, there's a lime one just for it. What? Nope. No. Wouldn't that would curdle. That would have to curdle. Honeycomb Big M was my favorite growing up. Really? I don't think I tried that one. I like honeycomb. Blue Heaven milk. I think one of the brands has brought that back. Abby's been drinking it. Agreed. Milo is superior. Mom, you've been hanging out with Freaky way too much. Like, way too much. I'm just sitting here playing with the yarn, honestly. So yeah. Only milk bar I've seen was so like we can get milkshakes from like coffee shops, and like I can get banana shakes from Donut King and like all those places. Yeah. The only time I like strawberry milk was when I was pregnant with my daughter. I'm not a big fan of strawberry milk, but I drank so much of it when I was pregnant. Strawberry milk. I ate a lot of mandarins and a lot of corn on the cob. And Abby absolutely loves all of those things. Absolutely loves all those things. Yeah. Oh, okay. So surprisingly doesn't curdle. All right. Oh, you don't get Big M anymore? I'll have to check. I don't know if it's still around. I'll double check. Just so that you know, like we've got someone requesting. I only bring special guests on to join in on this end on my end of the thing. So it's not just available for anyone in the chat to jump in and ask to join in. So sorry about that. But yeah, we're all here chatting. You can totally jump into the chat and join us there. And then says, I don't like strawberry milk. Yeah, it's not my favorite. It's definitely not my favorite. Yeah. But yeah, so we've had so much fun making, like, well, I mean, I've had fun. You guys have just watched. I've had so much fun using this spindle, which is my Glindle, my one and only Glindle that I ever got, which I love. It's hand-blown glass. Come on. No, that way. It's not going to focus. Go on. Make a liar out of me. I always say, unless you put your hand behind it, it doesn't focus. There we go. So it's got a hand-blown glass end, and then wood burn of heather. There, I absolutely love it. It's one of my favorite spindles. So I do try to use it and unload it so that I can have my wand back. So yeah, I really enjoyed the whole process. Like we had the blending board out. We actually made the Rolags last week. I'm really happy with the process. I'm less happy that I stuffed it up and we had to redo it, but I am also glad that I was able to show you how to fix a pretty major mistake that can happen when we spin, because sometimes, like you guys said, sometimes making a mistake, you think that's it, it's rubbish, but it's not, or not always. Sometimes there's a fix. So I'm so glad that I could show you how to fix it. I hope it was clear enough. But basically, if you ply it the wrong way, you have to go and remove that ply and then add in more of the correct ply. So it's just spinning it for just a bit longer, just to get out the wrong and add in the new. So yeah, so that's basically where we're at. Lime milkshakes. Is that a drooling face? Is that a good thing? I like it if it's a drooling face, not if it's a sad face. I think it's a drooling face. I'm so blind. I'm so blind. But yeah, we had a lot of fun. But if you guys have anything, knitting, crochet, spinning, like anything like that you would like to see me demonstrate, make sure you go and pop a comment over in the Fiberific Fun Zone and let me know. And if you do want to join into the Fiberific retreat, we do have some limited spaces left. And so what we do is we accept the deposit now, and then over the next 6 months, you can make the repayments or make a final payment just before the retreat. So at the end of August. And then we go away in September and we have a blast. We have like gift bags and, we sit back, we have a little workshop, and we just kick back and chill for the entire weekend. It's so nice. I love it. I can't wait. Actually, I'm like, why is September so far away? But yeah. So Sally has popped in the link for the Fun Zone. Again, make sure you answer the questions. If you don't answer the questions trying to get into the Fun Zone, you will sit in limbo forever. So yeah. John says, it's not something I ever plan on doing, but if the economy collapses and I need to start shaving the dog to make yarn, I feel I have a head start. Oh, I'm not a fan of spinning dog hair, honestly. Lisby's asking if she can get a gift bag. I've got to work that out. I like the idea. And I have to work out if there's a way, because last year we had sponsors and they sent a certain amount of stuff to add into the gift bag. So I'm going to talk to the sponsors and see what we can organize to have as for those people that can't make it, because I know not everybody can. I know you can't make it, Lisby. Unfortunately, the venue is not wheelchair friendly, which is such a shame, just because of where it is. But yeah, we'll definitely I'll definitely talk to the sponsors and find out if we can make a few extras and go from there. Because then I'll be making up like the tote bag, like with the cricket, and making it all cute and pretty like we did last year. Yes. Anyway, my friends, it is time to go. It is time to go and find the pattern And we're all going to sit down and make hearts over the next couple of days and add them into the fun zone. I'm going to dig out more yarn. I love making the hearts. I'm going to make a few of them. Well, I'm going to make one with scraps while this one has a bath and dries. So yeah, you guys have an awesome week, and I'll catch you next week. And I hope that you guys enjoyed this live and share it out with your friends, and I'll catch you all next time. Bye.